Have you ever wanted to partner with Navigator and I podcast and feature your brand on our episode? Make sure to send us an email at navigatorandipodcast@gmail.com and let's partner together. We have different tiers that can help you become successful. Make sure to hit us up and we'll catch you in the email. On to the episode. Hello, everybody. It's Annika LaQuette here, the host and creator of Navigator and I podcast. And if you are new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you will not miss any of our episodes that we post every single week on Mondays at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, a.m. And we go live. So that means you can interact with us on live or on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I am so excited, y'all. We have Christopher. Hey, Chris.
Hey, it's good to be here.
It's great to have you too. So for the people who do not know about you, because I read up about you, it's amazing. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh wow, that's a loaded question right there. Well, I run a business called the College Planning Center, but I am a recovering English professor. So I like to say I taught for like almost 20 years in the high school and the college classroom, and I started this company about 13 years ago, the College Planning Center, and we've been helping students ever since navigate the college admissions process. And I had a book come out recently, about 2 months ago, called Entering the Arena, and that book is based on the college admissions process in comparison to the Hunger Games and how we have a kind of a new Hunger Games with the college admissions. I know that sounds kind of extreme, but the competition has reached that level where kids kind of feel like it's like that sometimes.
I know. I was in college. I graduated. I know exactly what it felt like going to the admissions office and trying to get everything together is exactly like the Hunger Games. I completely understand.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes, I guess, we have to shock people into seeing the writing on the wall, so to speak now. And, what we've seen, or what I've seen dealing with a lot of families, is the parents are still considering college admissions like it was 30 years ago when they did it, when their kids are going through it, and it is not like that anymore.
No, it's not. So what motivated you to start this business? Because that's very important for administrations and everything.
Yeah. What it was, as an English teacher in the high school classroom, those are the ones that kids come to predominantly for help on their essays, for the college applications, for recommendation letters. And the truth is, organically, I just kind of saw, as I was helping students, that, they needed more help than they were getting even from me through that. And I saw that, a lot of students were entering the process excited and ending it disillusioned and really upset with their outcome. And they, and I just thought there had to be a better way. And our current education system, as it's set up, nothing's perfect, but, we have about a 400-to-1 ratio of guidance counselors to students. It just isn't enough help for the kids, and they needed more help than they were getting. And so I was like, I see a need here. And then I started that company, like I said, 13 years ago, and I was teaching full time and starting this on the side. And within a year, I had to give up my teaching position because there was such a demand for it that I could not run both the company and do a good job as a teacher. So, I'm not ever going to do anything halfway. And so I made the tough decision at the time to step away from a definite paycheck and, and all the things that go along with having that kind of position to being one that was reliant solely on my ability to run my company. And that scared my wife at the time, but I convinced her that I could handle it. And she was on board after a little bit of coaxing.
You sound like you sound like me and my mama having that conversation the day I said, I'm quitting my job to do this full time. She was like, I don't like that. I don't like that. And just like you did your wife, I had to convince my mama everything's going to be okay. And now I'm months out and I'm doing great. Okay. So yeah. I'm glad you took
Congratulations, Annika. That's great. And sometimes you just have to bet on yourself.
I say that
you got to bet
on.
You have to put your money all in on yourself, and you trust your ability, and that the need is there. And like once you identify that need, and you have a way to meet it, then you got to trust yourself to take that step.
Yes. So that's advice for everybody who's listening in. Okay. This is what you need to do. Bet it all on yourself. So I completely understand. Okay. So having to work with both sides of the administrative process at one, you said the collegiate level and also high school, what is the inner perspectives do you believe most students and parents are missing today? Because I know you briefly talk about that, but get a little bit in.
Yeah, of course. Well, teaching college for 6 years, right at 6 years, and what I saw on that side of things is that a lot of students came into the college unprepared for what they were going to hit in the college classroom, and I think there's really no nice way to say it. Uh, we kind of hold the hands of kids in ways in high school now that doesn't prepare them. I mean, we kind of uh, give them for I don't know, I can't put it into words specifically, but we are not we are not preparing them for how tough the college classroom is. So a lot of kids came unprepared to me on the college classroom, and so when I moved into the high school classroom, I did my best to work with kids and really push them to realize that deadline's important. uh, Editing and working ahead of time is important. And there's not always makeup work that you can do to pull your grade up. You don't get to do that in college. And
No.
so a lot of the habits we're instilling in kids in high school, they are not what they get in college. And so they come in thinking, wait, can I redo that test for extra credit, or can I
Mm.
redo that paper? And when they can't, and they realize they have 2 or 3 grades for the whole semester, and then one bad grade can sink their whole grade for the semester. That is a harsh reality for a lot of kids to take. And so when I moved into the high school classroom, was really trying my best to prepare kids, not tough love, but just helping them realize that the way they have to approach classes is a little different than we are preparing them in the high school level right now. I think we're doing a little too much, uh, to helping them a little too much to make sure their grades are high enough, because we don't want to get the flack from the parents, or even have to deal with flack from administration because the grades aren't high enough. And in the process, we're giving kids a safety net that they don't have in college. And that can definitely, when you don't have that net anymore, it can be a real harrowing experience.
Okay, I completely understand that. Yeah, not having to make up classes or whatever the case may be, you have to take. Okay, so for example, like you said, no makeups, but they'll
Right.
make you retake the class the next semester. So you one probably have to stay in school longer or take a summer
Right.
class.
Mhm.
Yeah, but there's no unless you have a really nice teacher.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
but
Very rarely you're going to get that. And the other thing that the problem they run into as well is, and this from having gone through it, is that the scholarships you have are dependent on maintaining a certain GPA. So that one bad grade may not just cost you retaking that class; it may cost you your entire scholarship that you've got based on maintaining that GPA. And when you lose that, you don't get it back. And so that that one mistake in that one class can cost you thousands and thousands of dollars, if not tens of thousands, if you have a good academic scholarship.
right. And like with that being said, what advice would you give parents starting now? Like the kids are in high school, like what would you give advice for them for college?
Yeah, well, I just wrote a blog about this last week
Okay.
or 2 weeks ago now, and the advice I give parents is you can't walk the walk for them. You have to
Mm,
let them do the hard work. And right now, I call this. We have a power school generation of parents, and I don't know if you know how power school is in our area is a system where we can see all their grades in real time as they go in. We can track everything. We see if they miss an assignment, and I use that description for parents that are micromanaging or really helping their kids way beyond what they should be helping them. And by doing that work now while they're in high school, and doing and plowing over all the obstacles that they get in their way, if they need to talk to a teacher, you're the one that talks to them. If you need to ask about a paper, if you're the one doing that, if your child is not doing all the hard work now, they're not going to do the hard work later on, because they're not prepared to do it when they get to college. And you think you're helping them, and I include myself in that. I'm kind of a recovering power school addict for me, because I have 3 kids as well. And
mhm.
you have to take a step back and realize, if they're going to fail, you need to. It's better to fail now and figure things out in high school, rather than when you get into college and then the stakes get much higher, or even down the line as they get higher out of college. You know, the stakes get higher with each level, and if we're doing the work for them now as parents, then we're really not preparing them to do the work on their own later on.
I agree. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that because yes, parents, if y'all listening, okay, pay attention to what he's saying because he's telling the truth. Okay. So
No,
yes.
we don't want to hear it. And
Right.
we all still think we know better, because a majority of the families that are coming to get help from us, from my company, are, family parents that are high achievers. Kids are usually pretty good students, So they're used to getting what they want, these parents, and they're used to they put the work in on their own level when they were doing it to get what they want, and they want to push their kids to do the same thing. But the key is you can't do it. You can't do it for them,
That's right.
and that's the biggest advice I give to families now is, let them stand on their own 2 feet. If they
Hmm.
need emotional support, that's fine to give them that, but don't support them beyond that right now. Let them figure things out in high school.
I agree with that too. Yes, let them figure it out. It's really like going through high school and then college. Yeah, it was kind of like a culture shock because it's like, oh snap, and especially freshman, freshman year. Oh God. So, like in high school, you could ask to go to the bathroom. That's one thing. Can I go to the
Hmm.
bathroom? And everybody looking at you like, if you don't just get up and go, like it's little stuff like that. I know that high school is kind of like, babysitting a little bit, to show respect and everything, but it's a whole different culture shock. Like you said, makeup classes. Well, I just said ask to go to the bathroom, like little stuff like that, or overpacking if you're going to stay on campus, like all that stuff that I feel like should be taught, especially throughout the years of high school. Start freshman year, and then like teach them slowly but surely until they get to a senior, and then they be like, okay, I'm prepared for real for college. So yes.
Yeah. And even some
Hmm.
simple things, Annika, like, and you don't think about this, but waking your kids up.
Hmm.
You think you're helping them by making sure they get up, but who's going to wake them up when they're in college? When they're sleeping through their class, who's going to be there to wake them up? Are you going to call them every day to make sure they're up? I mean, even things like that, they've got to learn how to do that. And if they don't do it now, if they're not responsible enough to set an alarm clock, have maybe two set if they really struggle to get up, when they
Right.
sleep through their classes, the professor's not going to care that their alarm didn't go off or that they didn't wake up in time. So even something small like that is something that you can do. You can help them by letting them do it themselves in high school.
And shoot, speaking of that, some professors lock their doors. It's like you cannot come in. You cannot come in. I remember that happened to my one of my friends. I was like, oh Lord, yeah, they will not let you in.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's right.
was.
And
Yeah, yeah.
I remember very vividly taking a class when I was overseas in London studying theater, and I slept through it. My not
Mm.
just a class, but my exam. And I
Mm.
remember showing up, and all the teacher did was hand me a note and tell me that if I missed another class, that I was going to fail the class, and
Mm-hmm.
that was a shock to my system. But one that, I made sure from that point on, I had four people waking me up. All my
Okay.
friends were on it, and I set up a good system to make sure that I did not sleep through another class. And yeah, that I
Mm-hmm.
needed that wake up
Yeah.
coming from the Citadel, where I was at a school where there was no option to sleep through class. I
Mm.
had not developed those skills to do it on my own. And when I was off away from the Citadel and doing things overseas, then that was a much different scenario for me.
Mm-hmm. I agree on that. Okay. So, as an associate member of the Independent Educational Consulting, association, how do you stay ahead of rapidly changing college admission trends, and what major shifts are you seeing right now?
Well, the way that you stay ahead of it is just a lot of reading, a lot of research. I mean,
Mm.
constantly, I've got things set up where I'm getting constant news feeds about things
Yeah.
going on, whether they court decisions, whether they're decisions made by colleges, and tracking all the trends in college admissions and all of the, you know, like you said, rapidly moving goal line, if you want to call it that, for how they're doing things. And one of the major trends we're seeing a few trends. We're seeing a major shift in some of the selective schools towards taking more and more kids early decision. Early
Okay.
decision is a binding contract that families sign when they do early decision. If they get into that college, they have to go there, but it improves your chances to get in if you do early decision. So we're seeing a lot more schools filling up their classes through early decision or early action, meaning that by the time you get to the regular applicant pool, you may have half the class already filled, and so it's even more competitive or more difficult to get in doing regular decision now. So that's the trend we're seeing. We're also seeing a kind of a tug and war with when it comes to test results, whether they're
Mm.
considered, whether they're not considered, whether schools are test optional, whether they're not, whether they're test, you know, and some schools in California are moving to not even considering test scores at all. So, you have such a wide range of the ways schools are looking at test scores. The Ivy League schools moved to test optional, and then most of them have moved back now to requiring some form of test score or recommending test scores being submitted, because what they thought they were going to achieve, having a more diverse class, was actually the opposite of what was happening. So the test scores are not taking them or requiring them was actually hurting the students that they thought they were helping. So we see a major shift in that as well, the test scores and things along those lines. So, kids here test optional, and that's just kind of like their that's the call to them to say, I don't have to take the test or have to worry about the SAT. But we know that's not the case. Even schools that they say it's not required, it really helps them out if they have a good test score. So, pushing yourself to do the hard work and get ready for the test and get a high score will help you out most of the time. And so getting kids to kind of not listen to what some kids might be saying or what people might be saying about test scores, that's something that we've had to deal with recently as well. So those are two big trends. And obviously you have the trend that's continuing, and it's continuing for a long time, which is just schools are getting more expensive.
Yeah.
Every year true. We see prices going up. We're not far away from $100,000 school. And some schools are right at that point now where $100,000 a year, not for 4 years, but for per year. And so that rising ticket prices making a huge difference for families as well.
Right. But no, that's not fair. They better take them SAT scores. I had to take it. Everybody take it. That was stressful.
Yeah,
oh no.
It is, but that's just another instance where kids are able to prove themselves. And I think, to me, students will rise to the level that we hold them to. And then when you make them feel like they can't do the test or the test isn't fair or whatever, and those things may be true, but students have the ability, especially now with the technology that exists and the free test prep that's out there, and so many ways they can do it. If you do the work, you can get your test scores up. And so, that is another good indication to colleges, if you're willing to put the time in to do that, to get those scores, that you're ready to take that next step to college and perform well there.
Right. That's right. I completely understand where you're coming from. So, in your background, which includes communications and marketing, that's my background as well. In your experience with ESPN and with some work in Germany, how has those experiences shaped the way you coach students through the admission process?
Right. Well, the way that's helped me, with that background in communications and marketing and PR, was that, I hate to use the word like we're showing students how to sell themselves, but in a way we're showing them how to market themselves. And so we approach it from that standpoint. What are you presenting to the college that makes you a desirable commodity for that school? And I know that sounds like we're kind of taking something that is emotional and something that's also very personal and making it more scientific or more, business oriented, but it really is a business decision. And what we try to coach our families, our students, and the parents is that colleges are making the best decisions for them financially, and it's a business decision. It's not personal. And so getting the kids to realize that this is not something that the schools look at personally. So you need to approach it as a business as well, and make your decisions based on making yourself more marketable, more desirable from the college, and realizing it's a transaction. It's a transactional thing with the college and the students. And even though it feels personal, it really isn't to the colleges. And that's something that we try to instill right from the start, is that the word fair isn't really part of the lexicon when it comes to college admissions.
That's
but
right.
I would argue fair isn't really part of the lexicon when it comes to anything. If you have enough experiences, you realize that it isn't always fair who gets the promotion or who gets the job or who gets anything. And so going in more like a victim, and I think being a victim never helps them out, but being kids that if they are informed and make really informed, well thought out decisions, they end up getting better results.
Yeah, that's right. And when you think about it, you're really selling yourself every day. Like, especially after college and you're trying to get a job, they are looking to see if they can invest in you. So they're trying to see. You have to sell yourself. You have to dress a certain way. You have to put your resume together. Like, it's constant stuff going on where you're actually marketing yourself every day, especially trying to get a job or a gig or whatever the case may be. So yes, I completely understand, even though it kind of sounds crazy.
and we teach the students that, this sounds like Big Brother, but they're always watching. Schools are watching everything that you're doing. I mean, the employers are watching it too. They see your social media. They see your posts. They see the pictures that you're in. They see everything that you're doing. They see how much time you spend on the school website and what programs you're researching, and whether you visit the school, everything everything that a student does will impact that decision when it comes time. So we want to make sure they understand that it's not just a do the application, send it off. It's everything you're doing over the course of 4 years will impact that decision when it comes time. And
Yes.
and that
Okay.
makes kids feel like, I mean, we want them to feel a little bit of the urgency, but also a little bit of the fact that, making bad decisions as a freshman can affect you when you apply as a senior or to a school.
That's
So we
right.
want to make sure that you don't make those mistakes, because we know, or I know that those decisions stay with you now on social media, and you can't get away from them. So
Yeah.
they're out
That's
there.
right.
Once you post it and put it out there, you might think you've got rid of the post, but it's still out. It's out there. They can still get to it. They can see it. Somebody could have screenshot it. It's just, that thing you do in an emotional moment can come back to bite you in the bottom.
Yes. Okay. You are right about that. I tell people this all the time. Yes. Because I did like a marketing mass communications workshop at Francis Marion in Florence. And I told the mass communication students, be careful what you post on social media, because not only are your family watching, your jobs, potential jobs could be watching, police could be watching, your school, you never know. Okay, so be mindful and also clean your social medias. Start doing that now. And it was like, oh wow. I'm like, heck yeah. So yes.
But the flip side of that's also true, Annika,
Mhm.
is that if you post stuff that's good on social media, it helps you. So you can use social media to your advantage. Post that picture from you at that humanitarian event that you went to, or post that picture of you at work helping to rebuild houses over the summer, and
Right.
those kind of positive images on social media, and posting things out there that really show you in a good light can help you out as well. So I don't want students to hide their footprint on social media, because colleges will also look suspect to kids who don't have any social media footprint. So if it's
Exactly.
all gone, if they can't find anything, they're like, what is this student hiding? So,
Like too
so find a
suspicious.
way, because that that digital resume that you're building, whether it's in LinkedIn or wherever you are, that's going to stay with you the rest of your life. You're going to be building that and building that. And, potential employers down the line are going to see that and see all the things you put on there. And they're going to see somebody who's growing, who is,
Right.
who's part of the community, who's participating. All that stuff will help them out too. So I don't want them to ever hear what we say about social media and think and go in the opposite direction of not doing anything with social
hmm
media.
Right. That's right. And I agree with you as well. So yes. See, that's crazy. You and me are like in public relations and all that. I did public relations, all that. And the thing that you're saying is still applying to this day. Okay. So
Yeah.
yes, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give
Yeah.
you 5 seconds to send us an email saying that you want to be a partner with us. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
You
And
are exactly right.
yeah.
And you've lived it. And so you
Yep.
understand. And, unfortunately, sometimes they have to get burned to see that playing with fire, it can burn them. But
That's
we
right.
try to keep them from making those mistakes. But, young people being what they're going to make mistakes. They just,
Mhm.
hopefully they don't make ones that, you know, we explain to them, and we see it every year. That admissions decision is not final.
No,
Colleges have the ability to revoke an acceptance anytime they want if they see something happen that they're not happy with.
that's
The
right.
wrong post, failing a class senior year, that because you have bad senioritis, all that can cause a school to pull back their acceptance. And some kids find out the hard way that all the way up to the end, it can impact them.
Yep. So y'all stay vigilant. Y'all know what y'all need to do. Okay. So yes, I completely understand. Okay.
Yeah.
You develop what you call a winning formula for navigating college admissions. What are the key elements that you make students? Hold on, make sure I'm saying this right. What are the key elements that make a student application truly stand out?
Well, and this is something I really touch on in my book, Entering the Arena, which when I use the Hunger Games analogy, is that the problem kids have a lot of times with it when it comes to college admissions is everybody looks the same, and because they all try to do the same things. They see what works and they go, well, okay, well, if that works for that student, I'm gonna do it exactly the same. I'm gonna take the same AP classes. I'm gonna do everything to have a high GPA and high test scores. And what you get is a bunch of students that look exactly the same.
Yeah.
And the analogy I use in my book is when in the beginning of the Hunger Games, when they all run, it's called the cornucopia. When they run for their weapons, they all
hmm
run for the same weapons, and they end up
Yeah.
dying. They end
Yep.
up getting knocked off, and because they're all trying to do things the same way, instead of like uh the main character, she Katniss realizes that she has to do things the way that she does things. And by being an individual and doing things differently than the rest of them, she survives and she ends up winning because she isn't just like everybody else. She does her own thing. And that's what we teach kids to do is build an authentic application, build an authentic resume that really, really lean into what you like, what you're passionate about, and find ways to distinguish yourself in things that matter to you, not just being across the board, looking across the board impressive based on what you think the schools want to see. And
Mm-hmm.
that formula of really identifying early on what you're interested in. We do a lot of career counseling with our kids, personality testing, figure out what you're good at, what you excel at, and what matters to you, and then build your resume for high school or your curriculum in high school to feed into your strengths instead of waiting till the end to go, wow, I should have been taking more photography classes. I really love filmmaking and I wish I had done that. Now you're finished with your senior year and applying to college and you don't have any experience in that. Whereas if you could have been doing that all along, you could have been submitting maybe a documentary that you made that really is
Right.
amazing. You could be submitting those things that really show those admissions officers that that your voice is unique and one that they want on their college campus rather than just looking like everybody else. And so that is the thing we really preach with our curriculum is take the time introspectively earlier on to figure out what you want, how you want to get there, and then plan out. Planning is a very key component and
That's
really
right.
plan out along the way to do those things that are going to make impact you in ways that allow your voice to become stronger. And
Mm-hmm.
instead of sounding like everybody else, we want them to sound like who they are, not just another version of the other kids getting into the colleges you want to get into.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because
Yeah.
sometimes you just can't compete with. I mean, some schools are going to have more resources, more
Mm-hmm.
AP classes, and if you're trying to compete with them at their strength and have every AP class, and they're still going to have more AP classes than you. They're still going to have more, higher test scores because they've been prepping for 4 years, and you might. So you've got to really figure out ways that you can stand out, that tap into your strengths and things that really make you unique. And if you do that, colleges are going to see your application in a way that makes it stand out from the others and makes it something that, like I said, makes you more desirable for the school to make their campus a more diverse campus.
Yeah, because I noticed that a lot of college campuses they want diversity. So yes, y'all listen up, okay? If you are a student listening in, okay, or you are a parent with students, okay, listen. Chris is telling the truth. All right, I've lived it. He's lived it, and he's telling y'all about it. So yes, I completely understand because it's true. It really is. Be different from other students because that's what it's all about. It's about being different. So I understand where you're coming
Yeah.
from.
Yeah, and in the book we in my book I lay out that scenario where you have in the movie it's kids from different districts, but the other some of the districts that are farther out are much poorer districts, have fewer resources, and that's the way the system works. I mean, you're not competing on the even playing field with kids from all across the country because the school system isn't equal across the country. Even within a state, you may have some schools that have extraordinary resources and some schools that have zero resources when it comes to college admissions. So when you're competing in a way that kids already have an advantage, then that's why I talk about the fair thing not coming into play. You've got to not be a victim and find a way to make the system work for you, understanding that the system isn't set up to be fair, right?
With you, yes,
And so
that's right.
finding that way, because there is a way, no matter what your circumstance, for you to lean into the things that um make you you, but also make you authentic. And if you lean into
Hmm.
those things, if you like to write, start writing, start submitting stories for submission to publications. Find creative writing contests to be part of. If you like to, like I said, do films, then start making your own films. Start doing, learning the systems, making your films, submitting them, keeping a portfolio of the things that you've done. You're going to stand out more outside of the classroom in ways that you have really leaned into your own, to your own voice than you're going to do in the classroom where everybody kind of begins to sound the same. Everybody's
Yeah.
got a 96 in the class. Everybody's got an
Right.
A. Everybody's got a 4.0. I mean, those
Hmm.
things aren't a way for you to stand out anymore.
No. And you know what, I agree with you because literally I took a film class, and I'm also a theater person too. I love theater. That's what my minor was. But literally taking a class about media and videos and social media, I literally took that and ran with it. So I did a media video for the whole senior class when I was in high school. And come to find out that was my purpose. I didn't even know that. I didn't know that's what I'll be doing for the rest of my life is doing film or recording. So in that, you will find your purpose too. Okay, y'all? I hope y'all listening. You'll find your purpose, yeah, through that stuff. And also you build a resume. And then not only that, colleges like seeing that in your portfolio is what you like what you did in high school. Did you do this? Did you do that? So you're
Mhm.
right. I
Yeah,
agree.
and it's I call it the why. I think we do a poor job, unfortunately, in our education system of helping kids answer the why question. Why are they doing the things they're doing? Why?
Hmm.
And when students can answer the why question for themselves, why do I want to do this? Why do I want to do that? That to me makes them a much more powerful self advocate as well. So
That's right.
you have to sometimes you have to answer that for yourself because you're not going to get that counseling on in high school, or most of the high school is about the why, and you got to kind of figure that out. And there are a lot of ways to do that now that we are blessed with being in a technological revolution where it's all at your fingertips. But I think sometimes it's information overload. There's so much stuff available, and there's so many things you can do that it's almost paralysis by analysis. Kids get paralyzed by everything and all the possibilities out there. They just don't know what to choose, and they don't know what to do. And so rather than figure it out, they just kind of let life happen to them while they're in school.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I think me and you were twins in our past lives because that's exactly like I told you. I did my workshop at FMU, and at the end of that course, I asked every last one of them to write down, remember your why. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you in college? Why are you, so that whenever they're going through something and they feel depressed or whatever, they go back and they be like, okay, I remember why I'm doing this. So yes, and you just said, remember your why. Talk about it all the time. Yes.
I, I have a very vivid memory of an influential man. He worked in the banking system, and I remember having a meeting with him when I was in high school, and he told me, he says, if you find a job where even on your worst day you're glad you're doing that job, then you will succeed, because there's going to be bad days and anything that you do, frustrating days that are more difficult. But if you find something that you get excited about getting out of bed to do every day, you're gonna be good at it. You're gonna be successful. And to me, I really took that to heart because my journey has not been a straight line. I've been kind of all over the place. I've been a bit of a wanderer and a searcher to
Me
find that
too.
right thing. But when you find it, you it makes a big difference in your overall happiness and what you're doing.
You're right. So I hope y'all listening up, okay? And I know that you briefly said for kids that feeling like all over the place and overwhelmed. So like what advice would you give these students who are feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm intimidated, I don't know what I'm doing? Give us some advice.
Well, the advice I would give the students is you've got resources all around you that you might not even, I mean, teachers, some of your teachers, the ones that you really identify with, are the ones that really get you excited. They
Mhm.
want you to come and talk to them. They want you to sit down with them and pick their brain. They love teaching, but they love kids even more. And they're there because it matters to them. And if you take the time, if a came to me when I was teaching and asked me, I would light up, because that just shows me that what I'm saying is getting through and that it makes a difference beyond just doing what you have to do in the class. So I would say use those resources, use them in your community, talk to your youth director, talk to your family may have a connection with a company, and go and somebody that might be willing to take you on for a job shadowing, or use those resources that are at your fingertips that cost nothing other than a little bit of time, and utilize them to find out your why, and really do digging, because it's too expensive to do that exploration in college now. One more year of college, because you hop from major to major, that could cost you 30,000 to 40,000, and that is enough to really hurt you for the majority of your early working years. Maybe 15, 20 years you could be paying that money back. This is the time now to do it. If you have the chance to do it while you're young and you have all these resources around you. And I think unfortunately, I think I see this in my own children, but the online kind of, the prevalence has made kids afraid to talk in person to people. So they're
Yes. Oh
afraid
my
to go up to you.
gosh.
They're afraid to go to people and shake his hand or shake her hand and ask a
Mm,
question. They're intimidated because they'd rather just text her or email him or, and I try to say that personal reaching out in a personal way is going to help you in so many ways. And then you may uncover a connection or a mentor that's going to point you towards the direction you're supposed to go. And if you don't take the chance, you're never going to know. And so I would say use those resources in your community like that. Talk to your principal, talk to your vice principal, whoever you, if you have a good relationship with your guidance counselor, don't just do the meeting when you have your IGP meeting, set another time to meet with him or her and really, really lay everything out there and get that feedback because the guidance counselors love to have the time to do that. But you have to show them that it matters to you to meet outside of the regular course of action for you to get that wisdom sometimes.
yeah, that's right. And do you have like any upcoming events or anything that you're going to be planning soon that you would like to share today?
Yeah, actually, I'm getting ready to launch a full course attached to the book that I wrote, Entering the Arena. So I'm gonna have a full resource where they have the book and basically a course to follow through on all the things we do in the book that kids can get into, and it'll be a monthly subscription, but it's something that they can do as long as they need it,
Yeah.
and then hop out if they want to, and it's something that we're gonna within the course of that we're gonna be having monthly workshops, webinars. We're going to try to bring people in to help answer that why question. So we have people we're interviewing, maybe a doctor with 1 month, or a lawyer the next month, where they can talk about where they got their why, how they got to their why, so that maybe those students that are doing that course have the chance to come in, ask their questions, listen, and be inspired by people that needed somebody to inspire them at one time as well. So I'm very excited about that course. Uh, we have great resources on my website, collegeplanningcenters.com, and I put out multiple blogs a week, including blogs that are geared towards parents, students, and we have a blog that comes out every week that has a synopsis of the week and admissions news, so trends that are happening. All that
Yeah.
is free. That's great. Those are great resources for kids to get, and all of my blogs, I attach, tips and tricks and things that people could be doing that would be really helpful for them to pay attention to. And I feel like, you know, I think I use my experiences as a father and as a student at one point in time because, I actually went through all this myself one time a long, long time ago. But I try to, uh, I try to tell them that, they may have to figure things out for themselves, but having people having gone through it, give them advice can be helpful and they can take what they want. Parents can take what they want. And parents, I'll say this too, also need a support system, I think. A lot of
Yeah.
parents are stressed out, upset, worried about how to pay for school. I also have another workshop that I'll be doing over the course of the next month that's all geared towards helping students figure out how to pay for school, scholarships, financial aid, things along those lines. So I try to gear my events towards really the pressing needs that families have and students have that are really keeping them up at night. And so that would be my advice: is utilize the free resources we have. Those workshops are free. The
Hmm.
course is going to be there's going to be an opt-in that allows you to come in for free to look at it to see if it's helpful. And if you decide it is, it's going to be a very reasonable price for kids to stick with it and really get a lot of great resources for building their resume, their student profile, essay writing, all those things that really stress people out. You're going to have we have a lot of fantastic resources we're putting out there that will help them out.
Oh, that's really good. Excuse me. And I love that because a lot of people don't have those resources, but you are now like opening that up, especially like monthly subscriptions. That's really good. Like that's what's needed.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
love that.
yeah.
That's really
So
amazing.
it's cheap enough to where it's like it's like a coffee or maybe two of your coffees a week. Everybody wants to
Okay.
maybe want to price things out based on your latte that you get at
Hmm.
your favorite coffee shop, but you have to be willing to, and I think that it's important to place value on the things that are important too. So we don't give everything away for free, but we make it cheap enough in the things that we do there that if you value that, you're willing to put a little bit of your own skin in the game to get, because it comes back many times over in the admissions decisions you get, and also the money you're getting from colleges. And scholarships, financial aid, things like that. One bit of advice that you pay attention to can save you thousands and thousands of dollars for parents, but they make the wrong decision when they're filling out their financial aid forms and things like that.
Yes, you're right about that.
And they don't get any support, and they don't get any support with that, unfortunately.
That's right. They don't. And they don't know how to like navigate, like, should I do this? I don't know. I've never been to college. My kid will be first generation.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And my kid's first generation, is there money out there for students that are first gen? Yes, there is. So if you're not taking the time to really look for that money and apply for that money, you're leaving tens of thousands of dollars in some instances on the table that you could have gotten, that could have made it so much easier for you and your family from a financial standpoint.
Yep, that's right. And I completely agree with that. So y'all, like I keep saying, I hope y'all listening, because August is coming and that means school is about to start soon. Okay. So listen up. All right, to Christopher, period.
Yeah. And that in the summer, I 100% believe students need that time to decompress, to recharge their batteries. But the summer is also a valuable time to really make good headway in a lot of these areas. So, factor some of that time in to your schedule over the summer to really make strides towards, achieving these things that are going to help you out long term. And I would say that the thing that makes kids wonderful on one level is they look at it just from week to week. Like, they're very short term in the way they look at things. They don't see the long or the big picture, or the long stretch. And I will tell students, make long-term goals too. Set some long-term goals and be willing to do the things, now that could impact you, a year from now or even 2 years from now. Those goals you set for yourself that are long-term can have a major impact and hold you accountable. Because if you don't hold yourself accountable, you'll always find reasons to circumnavigate the work you don't really want to do. Because it is work.
It is,
but it's work that pays off in the long run.
Right. Yes. And lastly, give yourself a huge shout out. Tell everyone where they can follow you, and also get your website information again.
Great. Yeah. Please follow us. It's College Planning Centers with an S on it .com is our website. If you jump on there, all the links are going to be on there. We'll be announcing the drop of that new course that we're going to be offering. It's going to be a separate app for the book, and the whole course attached with it and all the resources go with it. We'll be announcing that on there. We'll be putting stuff out. But if you come to the website, it shows you how to get to all of our social media sites as well. And if you do that, you're going to be able to get to the information you need. There's places on there to sign up. We do free consultations. If you want to just jump on a meeting with me for 30 minutes and pick my brain, absolutely free. I'm happy to meet with you, talk with you, give you a plan that you can take and do on your own. I can tell you where the resources are that you'll need to do the things you're going to do, but those consultations are completely free. So I encourage people to take advantage of that, because I love to talk about college. I love to talk about young people and, pursuing that path that's going to make them happy. I'm very passionate about it. So I would say, my wife says I gave away too much for free, but my feeling is I want to help everybody. So yeah, get on there, sign up for a free consultation, or get on the mailing list, and you'll get those blogs each week. You'll get the college admissions news we're putting out every week. You'll get that in your email, and you can read it and check it out. And it might be things that inspire you along the way.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is me. That is me telling you to get in touch. And like I said, it's collegeplanningcenters.com, and a lot of great resources on there. And we are constantly looking for new resources. We just put together a resume builder. So, that allows kids to put their stuff in, and it sets a resume up for you. And it's because the resume was a source of distress for some students.
Yes.
That new resource allows them to do it in a way that's very easy and almost, I'll never say anything's idiot proof, but it's about as close as you get to that, as far as what they can do to get it and not have to worry about it looking good.
That's right. Come on, I love that. Yes.
Yeah. I was always operating under the notion knowledge is power, and we try to give our families and our students the knowledge, and we give them the knowledge to make the decisions. And the other saying that I had on my wall in my classroom was, life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you deal with it. And if you approach it that way and stop being a victim of the system and start being an advocate for yourself and planning things out, you will be successful.
Yep.
And that's
right.
And not you might be successful, you will be successful. And
Mm-hmm.
that is my words of wisdom for all the kids and families out there is you make a plan, you stick to it, and you're going to get where you want to go.
Yep, I agree. Because that I apply it to myself too.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
I love that. And
Let's-
yes, I want to thank you so much for coming on Never Gave Denied podcast today.
Yes, I was great. And I'll let you know when, I'll be sure to let you know when that new app and course drops,
Yes.
and maybe you can send that out to your listeners, and that might be something they can check out.
Oh, I love that. Yes. And remember, yes, life was delayed, but it never gave denied. I'm your host, Annika Laquette, and you just listened to Never Gave Denied podcast with Christopher. Bye, y'all.
Woo!
I know you're not going to deny us a subscription. It's a whole new season and you're still playing. Click here to subscribe and click here for more episodes because we want to see you and become undeniable with us. Period.